Back in 1989, for some of y'all, your mind just can't go back that far. Back in 1989, I preached my very first sermon ever. It wasn't a Sunday sermon, it was a Wednesday night sermon. It was like a 10-minute devotional that my preacher asked me to do one Wednesday night. I was scared to death of that. Can y'all imagine that? You know, I don't know how. I worked for months putting this little 10-minute talk together. Tim, I memorized every word of it because I was that nervous. I'm like, I'm not going to get up there and not be here. I memorized every word. Memorized literally every word of this. I went over it, and over it. I was nervous. And I'll be honest with you, I was nervous for a lot of reasons. I was nervous about giving the talk. I was nervous because I was thinking about maybe becoming a preacher. And I was thinking about all these thoughts, these doubts and whatever in my mind about it because, man, every preacher that I knew, and I didn't know many, I was just a young teenage kid, every preacher that I knew was very outgoing and they just seemed to be very extroverted people. And listen, I was not that. I was not an outgoing person. I was not an extroverted person. I was more of an introverted person. You know, being around people just wore me out. It tired me out, man. I needed time with me. And so, you know, I thought about all that and I thought, wow, this is not, I don't think I can do this. I don't think this is going to work. And so as I'm coming into that pulpit with my memorized 10-minute talk that day, I'm bringing a ton, listen to me, a ton of self-doubt into that pulpit with me. So I gave my little 10-minute talk, word for word, that I had memorized. I don't even remember what it was, but I'm certain it was horrible. But I got up and did it. Got done, had an invitation song. I'm quite certain nobody responded to that. But we got done, and I never will forget, as soon as the prayer was said to dismiss us to our classes, right? Sitting about where James is sitting right now was the preacher for my local church family. His name was Steve Reeves. Steve is still preaching today in Searcy, Arkansas. Steve made a beeline for me. Before anybody else could come, yeah, I don't remember who else came, but I remember Steve made a beeline for me. And Steve looked at me, and Steve Reeves said, "Mark, brother, that was an awesome sermon. You are going to be a fantastic preacher." Now, I didn't believe a word he said. You hear me? I didn't believe anything he said. But I appreciated every word he said. He was, and he continued to be, and he certainly in that moment was a Barnabas to me. I don't think I would be standing up here today if it weren't for Steve Reeves. I say that to say I hope you have a Barnabas in your life. But more than that, I hope you will be a Barnabas to somebody else. And I hope that you will do it on purpose.